bear with us and be understanding of that. Let me get my notes here. So I wrote a little intro piece, and I'm just going to read it, and then we'll jump right into it, okay? Because we only have like 30 minutes, so we want to utilize the time properly. So again, so thank you guys for coming today. We're grateful for the opportunity to be able to show you guys what we've been able to pick up over the last 2 years studying astrology. We're by no means professionals, you know, we're just two dudes who love astrology. We love to talk about it, we love to share it with people. So, you know, anything that we say, we're not insisting that it's right, or if it encroaches on any belief systems, sorry, you know, just deal with it. we're Pluto and Scorpio generation, right? So our Pluto and Scorpio generation, we have this deep, unconscious, or subconscious kind of drive to change and put people in that uncomfortable space. So if we do that, good. But so unfortunately, we're not going to have the time to like delve into why astrology works. There's just not enough time to get into like the physics of it. Everybody's got their own like little things of how they make it work. So what we really want to talk about are the archetypes of the current astrological trends that are going on right now, and how they correspond to current global, national, and then individual and subjective experiences. So the concept that we're working with today, and if any of you guys are familiar with astrology, kind of this idea permeates of as above, so below. If you're Bible people, it's what is it? The on earth as it is in heaven, right? It's the same concept, just kind of told from a different angle, right? So now we can think of the planets. When we talk about the planets, what they're representing, they're talking about needs that the universe is expressing at any particular time. So when we see the Mars energy, for instance, that's the universe expressing the action energy in whatever particular sign it's in. Now, whatever sign it's in, that's the flavor that the energy takes on. So Mars in Pisces is going to take on a more sensitive kind of nature, and so on and so forth with all the different archetypes. Let's see. So that's kind of the table. So we're just going to kind of just jump into it here.
So we're going to begin with talking about the longer scale cycles. So most of you should know, right? We're coming out of the age of Pisces, correct? And basically, Pisces deals with such concepts as religion and spirituality, a connection to the source, right? And we're going to be talking about the fixed star Regulus moving out of Leo into Virgo. And both of these cycles take roughly about 2,000 years. So the shift of the age into Aquarius and the shift of Regulus into Virgo are coinciding with one another. So let's talk about the archetypes of Pisces and Leo. We've experienced throughout the past 2,000 years or so kings, monarchies. These are all things that fall under Leo, royalty. Regulus is deals with power structures, rules and regulations, laws. So we've been living in a patriarchal society for 2,000 years, male-dominated. Leo is the most masculine of signs, right? And so there's been, like you can think of priests. It's like I am the only way you can connect to the source, basically. Like religion. It's you could even say Pisces and Leo together is like religious dogma, because Leo is very much like, well, my way is right, and that's just it. So and we all know it's a load of crap.
Now I think a positive expression of that Pisces Leo kind of thing going on is you think of somebody like Christ, who is the I am the physical incarnation of God, and he's the Lion of Judah. So these things they work on all levels. There's that kind of negative expression, and there's that positive expression that's experienced. So.
Mm-hmm. So now moving into the age of Aquarius, which there's a lot of speculation on when the age of Aquarius actually begins. Some people say it began during the American Revolution, only because Aquarius deals with such ideas as revolution and liberation and freedom, right? So, and now Regulus moving into Virgo, out of Leo, we're coming out of the patriarchy, essentially. You're seeing more women like in roles of power, such as like governments,
I think the head of the IMF is a woman. The person that they tap to replace Ben Bernanke at the Fed, as a woman. So yeah.
So to kind of get a little off topic, but then get right back on course. The state of our environment, our planet, is like in the gutter, right? Because well, we've been run by these dumb men who really don't know what they're doing. Now, Regulus and Virgo. Virgo is like the feminine left brain. So logical thinking, practical thinking. Let's efficiency, cleanliness, order. The environment is a big deal. And we're all facing that right now. And Aquarius, Virgo coming together. Aquarius is like the community, brotherhood. It's everybody. It's the collective, humankind. And in Virgo, we're concerned about the environment. So Virgo is also about service and work. So we've got to work together to fix our planet, essentially. So that's kind of the backdrop for the next 2,000 years or so. Now I guess we'll get into the more specific, relevant astrological configurations right now.
Right. So right now Pluto is in Capricorn right now. Interestingly enough, Pluto was in Capricorn when the United States was founded. Pluto is often associated with the rise and fall of empires. So just infer what you will. Archetypes that Pluto represents death, regeneration, slow and creeping change, right? It's almost like this fated kind of change that's involved. Our subconscious desires, they're tied into Pluto as well. Secrets and rebirth. So with Pluto moving through Capricorn, Capricorn talks about social structures, governments, institutions, authorities. Now, the way that we like to use astrology, maybe just me because I'm a Gemini and I like language, to me this is a language, so let's make sentences here. So this Pluto and Capricorn, there is a slow and creeping change coming to the social structures, authority, governmental structures, and I think you can look at the news, especially with secrets kind of coming out. You see the stuff like WikiLeaks and Edward Snowden, that kind of stuff. That's a great indicator of that Pluto and Capricorn energy.
Also in 2008, this is when Pluto moved into Capricorn. The United States, we experienced a whole mess on Wall Street, financial stuff, Basically our entire civilization is based on capitalism, right? Money, Wall Street, bankers. Well, they're going through a pretty tough time, and Capricorn deals with traditions in the past. Okay, so these groups are hanging on to their traditions, and ways of accruing power. But it's because we're coming into this age of Aquarius. It's all about equality. There's an imbalance, of power in the world today, and well, that old dinosaur is about to die. Basically, you can say that.
Truly. Now, and what's cool now when you're talking about as above, so below, there's a correspondence here. Right? We're focusing on these national issues that we're talking about, Pluto and Capricorn, but it also permeates to us on an internal level. We all build these structures within ourselves. And this Pluto and Capricorn within us individually are those deep-rooted structures that we create inside of ourselves, the authority that, like where we put power in our life, that's going through this like tremendous upheaval all together, So
move on to Uranus.
Next is Uranus and Aries.
So we'll talk about the planet Uranus. Sudden, abrupt changes come out of the blue. Kind of think of an earthquake, right? Aries deals with the individual and new beginnings. So when Uranus moved into Aries on March 10th, 2011, there was the Fukushima disaster. If you all are familiar with that, there's a tsunami that hit the power plant. Now we're kind of dealing with that, and that's a big thing.
Interestingly enough, that Fukushima deal, it happened on the last day of Uranus in Pisces. Pisces is a water sign. So now it's coupled with Pluto and Capricorn. That's another way to look at this. Pluto and Capricorn is Earth changes. Okay, so Uranus in Pisces, this crazy water event, initiated by an earthquake, Pluto and Capricorn. And you see the manifestation through the Fukushima reactor happening. So Uranus archetypes: freedom, revolution, innovation, liberation, awakening, sudden change, and that's kind of hard to read. Aries is the individual, self-reliance, and a lot of ways the military, initiation, and beginnings. Those are Uranus archetypes. So Uranus and Aries on that individual level is, and I mean, I think all of us here can resonate with this idea. This is a time of like tremendous change to your identity and to yourself. I mean, you're all in this alternative kind of environment with all these different like practitioners and stuff like that. So it's an indication that we're going through this massive shift on the individual level as well as the collective level is what this Uranus and Aries energy represents. And also, if you guys have any questions, if you don't understand something, please like ask.
So another manifestation of this Uranus and Aries is talking about Edward Snowden, the Bradley Manning. These individuals, like Bradley Manning, for instance, he was in the military, and he was basically this unconventional character that challenged the status quo, right, and then released information to the public that, well, these old heads in Pluto and Capricorn, they didn't like that because they're losing control. Capricorn is all about maintaining the status quo, and it's just not going to happen right now. So.
Thank God.
Yeah, but the only thing about it is, I guess it's a very tumultuous process, and there's right. See, this is the current configuration now. Uranus and Pluto are in square with one another. And what the square means, it's a 90-degree angle between two planets. And the square represents challenges, physical reality. So, and it's very tense. You think of, well, kind of just like there's sharp corners, 90 degrees. It's very edgy, right? So there's very edgy energy going on between Uranus and Pluto. Which, if you look back in history at these particular cycles, when Uranus was conjunct Pluto, back in the 60s, the mid-60s, there was, a revolution taking place, as I'm sure many of you know, as you lived through that time, where we saw, and it was in Virgo, keep in mind, we saw the women's liberation movement, feminist movement, we saw the peace movement, and the microchip was invented at this time. Uranus rules technology and innovations such as that. And now, in the square we're coming to right now, we're seeing the seed that was planted in the 1960s. We're seeing that seed take root and form branches. So we're kind of seeing the product of the 60s right now. And you can see technologically how our lives are pretty much dominated by it. There's no getting around it unless you're living in the wilderness.
One of the a good phrase for Uranus square Pluto is an unstoppable force in Uranus meets an immovable object with Pluto and Capricorn. And this unstoppable force does not care that this object doesn't move. So there's a tremendous boom, right? So when this square really got hot, which was in the spring of 2011, that was the Arab Spring. That's when all the stuff started happening in Egypt and the Middle East. Granted, this stuff's been going on in the Middle East for a while, but the Egyptian Revolution, which really kind of started this whole process, that was when that really got geared up.
And it was initiated by one individual, Aries, setting himself on fire out of a sense of injustice for the people. So you can see that Uranian, he was trying to liberate his people by sacrificing himself, essentially. Aries, a fire sign, set himself on fire, and then the people, the public, revolted, and it was a big ripple. You can also see the correlation between the Occupy movement, individuals against the government,
Right. So now on that individual level that we're talking about, the Uranus square Pluto, how that how does that affect us personally? We've mentioned that there's this redefinition to our identity and to ourself that's taking place. Now it's coming into physical tension with the structures that we created from our past. So this new idea, this new person that we want to be, like right now, especially the Saturns and Scorpio, we're really dealing with our own shadows, and the things that, kind of the dark parts that we kind of push down. We're dealing with all that so that we can make this new redefinition work, right? And which kind of leads us into this Neptune and Pisces. This Uranus square Pluto, this is a really like revolutionary energy, and it's really hot. And the last time Uranus squared Pluto was in the 1930s, and this was Hitler's rise to power. So this is a really intense energy, you know what I mean? So now what's cool and what's hopeful is that Neptune is in Pisces, and that's like throwing a wet blanket over the whole deal. That's like shooting bullets into the water. They just kind of slow down, So this change that we're all experiencing, well, on the big scale, all these revolutions, on the inside, our own internal revolutions, our own internal changes, those are being kind of dampened in the sense that it's not, I don't want to put it, it's there's this idea of transcendence that kind of permeates all of it. Like, there's this path that we're all kind of following, and like it's divinely directed. So like this revolutionary energy that we're experiencing, it is also that kind of divinely inspired and divinely guided kind of
spiritual revolution.
Right, a spiritual revolution is a good kind of thing to put on there.
I think the Uranus, we're definitely in a time of a consciousness shift for sure, and I think what that shift is towards a perspective that all humankind is connected, and that we should treat everyone with equal amount of respect, and nobody's above anyone. It's equal playing field. This is all very Aquarian, Aquarius is all about equality. Everybody should have their needs met.
Now, the cool thing about astrology and the fact that it operates on this idea of correspondence is we as individuals can help affect this change that we see on a global scale. And how we do that is, really the way that I do that is through my own study of my own chart. And I see where this Uranus-Pluto interaction is taking place, and I can see that this is the area of my life that these changes are being affected in. So with that in mind, you can kind of continue with life and help usher those changes in when you become aware of like the areas of your life that they're manifesting. And they kind of like, so when the changes come up, you're not so like, whoa, what is this all about? Why is this happening to me? You're like, okay, I understand that this is part of my purpose, my true purpose that I'm stepping into. And that's why this time is like so exciting and excitable, is because excitement is the body's natural response to living in its purpose. So when you feel excited about something, go for it. And that's really, the message that this whole thing is trying to say, is that we're going to a place where it's okay. The future is not bleak, the future is awesome. And you have a responsibility in bringing that in. And how you do that is letting go. Letting go of those old past paradigms, those old structures that we've been holding on to, and embracing the river, and embracing where it takes us, no matter how hard and uncomfortable it might make us feel.
Also, I believe self-reliance is a big theme of right now, in that relying, say, for instance, on the government for means of security is not going to last much longer. So you think back to the 60s, there was the let's get back to the earth kind of movement, that whole Virgo feel, let's grow our own food, let's get out of the system. That's coming back again, so people growing their own food is a great way to free yourself, essentially, from the old dinosaur government that's existing and crumbling today.
Right. So another part of this too is this Uranus and Pluto, this Uranus-Pluto cycle that's going on. This most recent one that just kind of finished up it's been about energy, and on its Uranus, on its last degree of Pisces, it's about to start a new cycle. So what this is kind of showing us is that nuclear energy, which was the theme of the Uranus cycle, that one that it was on, it's not sustainable at all. Nuclear energy, it's not sustainable.
Right. So that kind of brings us back to the age of Aquarius, Regulus, and Virgo. So if Aquarius governs technology, Virgo is efficient, clean, healthy. You can kind of think we're moving into a time where we're going to be implementing clean energy, free energy, efficient technologies that don't harm the environment, that we don't have to take from the environment to sustain ourselves. You know, it's all more of, you know, giving back, and then we receive when we give back.
So I guess advice for the shift that we're experiencing is feel the excitement in your heart and follow that excitement, because that excitement is going to lead you to purpose, into what your purpose is and your expression of purpose.